Tarot comes in many styles now. Mythical, minimal, artistic, fantasy, there are no shortage of themes. But when it comes to masculine, those are still surprisingly rare. I'm not talking about slapping a sword on a card and calling it masculine. What I mean are decks that feel strong, purposeful, and grounded. When I started preparing this video, I went for a stack of decks. Some of them I've reviewed on this channel, and some I researched, and only a few of them stood out. So in this video, I'll share with you 5 Tarot and Oracle decks that get it right. Hey, I'm Jay with Runic Tarot, where I bring you weekly Oracle and Tarot deck reviews to inspire readings. Our first deck is the Initiatory Golden Dawn Tarot, a deck published by Los Scarabeo, which is based on the materials left by the Golden Dawn Order. Yes, that one. The Initiatory Golden Dawn Tarot is a 78-card deck published by Los Scarabeo and based directly on the original Golden Dawn materials. The Liberty, a dense esoteric text that outlines the Order's tarot system. And the interesting part about this deck is that it was created by an artist, Patricio Evangelisti, who has never seen previous Golden Dawn decks. Instead, the author behind this deck gave him the Liberty card descriptions, and it was created purely from those written descriptions. And it sort of makes this ritual document brought to life. It's very raw, symbolic, and deeply intentional deck. The card quality is pretty standard, as you can see, but it's an exceptional deck because of its artwork. This is not your everyday RWS clone. The Golden Dawn Tarot draws straight from the source, the Liberty, and results is intense. Every card is packed with symbolism and dramatic pauses and very bold visual choices. It feels like a spiritual action movie illustrated by someone raised on the 60s occult cinema. And there are some structural changes to this deck to make it closer match to Golden Dawn Tarot. For example, the princess showing as seated in chariots, like this one here, while the kings, here called knights, ride on horseback. And this is a hierarchy that reflects the original Golden Dawn system, and it breaks from the rider-waite tradition. And despite how serious this system sounds, because it's based on these occult documents, it's actually reads very easily, intuitively, because you can see some of the symbols there, and you can engage directly with the image, not memorize the keywords. And you read this deck by feeling, by noticing, and by trusting your symbolic instincts. And every card here, like this one here, it feels deliberately staged, almost like a scene from a drama play. Like it's another one here. And there is nudity, there is conflict, the passion, the intensity, and it's all to serve the purpose of this archetypal storytelling. And this is a deck that does not hold your hand, but if you are into esoteric tarot, mysticism, or layered imagery, it will reward you with incredible depth. As far as the masculine energy goes, I would rate this deck as strong. It radiates its structured spiritual masculinity. It's got bold, dramatic figures and some formal symbolism. It also leans heavily into its sacred masculine stereotypes, and you probably see it from the cards that I've been showing you. I would say it's perfect for intuitive readers who want to have more than a surface level tarot understanding. If you are into Golden Dawn material, but you don't want to see it through the ancient texts, sometimes it's difficult to understand and they can be a little bit dry and theoretic, this deck is ideal. But also this deck is great for readers who love theatrical, mythical, esoteric art. And let me share with you some cards that really stood out to me from this deck. This is a 10 of Swords, and it's a complete departure from RWS. There are swords in here, but our hero isn't pierced by them. He's in the middle of some turmoil, though. There's a structure crumbling above him, and It's probably the end of the cycle, similar with Ten of Swords, but a very different take on it. There's Hanged Man. Another different take on this with more detail. We've been able to see this insight right there, and the little sign of realization and knowledge that's been gained through this suffering. The Five of Swords, look how dramatic this card is, and this is the brutality and drama I was telling you about. It's probably one of the examples, really good examples here. And this is a take on Two of Wands, a completely different take, I would say. Also illustrates the overall style of his deck. I hope you enjoyed that first pick, and now I'm going to introduce you to our second choice, the Heaven and Earth Tarot, also published by Los Carabeo and created by the artist Jack Sefrod. And at first glance, it looks like Rider-Waite-Smith clone, but it's far more than that. This deck blends the RWS foundations with layer of Golden Dawn, Thoth and Kabbalah and astrological symbolism, and all wrapped in this romantic, this painterly art that was heavily inspired by pre-Raphaelite aesthetics. The cards are high quality. You can see how thick they are here, and they're very sturdy. They have a glossy finish, and they have a lot of symbolic depth built right into the visuals, as you will see. So this deck takes the classic RWS structure and it gives it this mystical upgrade. You will see familiar scenes like Three of Cups or the Hermit, but there will be some ghostly symbols like this one here or this one here, just floating in the sky, or spiritual figures in the background like this one here. And this subtle esoteric details that added to nearly to every card. Now the palette of this deck leans into soft grays and sepia tones, which gives this deck this very serious, almost sacred-like feel. But it never strays far from the original meanings, like you can see here on the Death card. If you're a beginner, you can read this right out of the books. If you're a more advanced reader, you'll for sure appreciate little astrology glyphs, like you can see here, the Hebrew letters and even Thoth styles keywords discreetly written on some of the cards of Minor Arcanum, as you will see. I would rate this deck masculine energy as moderate. And this is slightly masculine tone deck because its formality and muted palette, the color scheme they used, and how the kings and emperors and hierophants are portrayed. They stoic, wise, and strong. But that's balanced out with beautifully powerful feminine figures like High Priestess and Empress and other ones that you probably saw. And with that, let me just show you some cards that stood out to me from this deck. Let's look at the Ace of Pentacles, and all of the aces in this deck are very vivid, symbolic, and they charge this elemental power. Some cards are slight departure, like this one here, the Lovers. It shows the lovers in embrace, where in RWS it's still a choice, so they haven't made the decision yet. And look at the symbols I was telling you about, the Hebrew letters and planet symbols, astrological signs. It's another example here, the Six of Wands. This is the Minor Arcana meanings and names, and it's very unobtrusive. It's almost like handwriting, but it's there if you need it. Really cool take on the Wheel of Fortune. Now you can actually imagine what the wheel looks like. It's almost photographic quality. And the Devil card will be last example. Much more vivid, bit more darker, more haunting, with a real emotional weight there. You can actually see these people and the devil sitting just above them. What a beautiful deck. Now we're off to choice number 3, the Runic Tarot, also published by, you guessed it, Los Carabeo. It's a 78 card deck that blends Norse mythology with traditional tarot structure. Also created by Jack Sefrod, and it's very rich and immersive experiences, like reading tarot in the halls of Valhalla. Cards are borderless and well printed, shuffle really smoothly. I did a full review of this deck on my channel if you want to check it out. The cards are quite thick as well, they feel premium. And this deck drops you right into this Viking saga. You will see some familiar faces like Odin and Thor, along with some warriors, goddesses, dragons, and lots of runes. And the tone of his deck is raw and mythic. Every card feels like a scene from a Norse tale, stormy, visceral, charged with primal power. And it's not just eye candy. The deck is very clever. It weaves together tarot and runes. So while you get still the same major arcana, suits, and court cards, each image also carries Norse symbolism. That's an explanation, and sometimes you look at a card and it may not be matching what you will see in RWS. The rune may give you an answer what it actually means. But even without knowing the runes, the storytelling of the cards shines through, like this one here, this Empress. If you see a fierce battle or a royal figure, you can feel the energy without needing the manual, which is also there if you need it. It feels really grounded, and this art is heavy metal epic, but the energy is very rooted. You feel very confident when you read it, and you feel like you tap into something really old and ancestral. Like this deck is less about fortune telling and more about connecting within the strength and shadow and nature, and that's what makes it masculine. I would rate this deck masculine energy as high. It leans really heavily into these sacred masculine themes, the warriors, gods, primal force, but it's not very aggressive. It's more about the courage, protection, resilience, and it got a few Valkyries there, dragons, and natural world too. I would say this deck is best for myth lovers, those who enjoy rune. Just be careful with runes here. Apparently this deck uses some more modern runes that have a bit of a darker history if you want to do research online, but nevertheless it's a beautiful rune art that woven into these cards. It's great for shadow work, great for ancestral connections, or any spiritual work that you want to do in Norse lore. Intermediate readers probably get most out of the symbolism, but it's intuitive enough for anyone who's got a bit of a tarot experience under your belt and no RWS. Now we're going to change gears a little bit. Our next pick is also a Lost Carabia deck, but with a completely different design and by a different author. This is a Knights Templar. It's a 78 card deck based on the lore of the medieval warrior monks known as the Knights Templar, and built on a standard RWS structure. It's like monks, crusaders, sacred relics, and temple halls, all painted in rich golden tones. This deck is like reading tarot in the middle of a medieval epic. Every RWS card is still there. The Three of Swords still means heartbreak, but now it's just carved on a Templar tomb or painted onto a crusader scene. Each card has got a lot of references like red crosses, chalices, this holy grail vibes to them, swords and flags, and scenes of pilgrimage or a battle. And it invites you to engage with stories behind the cards. For instance, the Templar's dual nature in warriors and monks comes across very strongly. In some cards you will see armed knights charging forward, symbolizing action, courage, and very masculine force. In others you will see candlelit prayers or secret rites representing wisdom, faith, the inward spiritual masculine. And that gives this deck a very balanced masculine energy. Very young, yes, with all the knights and kings, but and also it's introspective and mythical, emphasizing some masculine values like honor, duty, and sacrifice rather than just brute force. And despite its historical theme, it's very readable. If you know RWS, nothing here will trip you up. And if you know Templar history, you're in for a treat. You're gonna catch some Easter eggs. And I'll show you some of them in a second, but you'll see stuff like two knights sharing one horse or the Temple of Solomon. So I would rate this card masculine energy as high, and because it leans fully into the sacred masculine. Knights, monks, holy men, crusaders. So let me show you some standout cards that illustrate these points. So the Lover's card in this deck represents a choice between joining the Knights Templar and going in a battle, or staying home with the wife or the lover. The High Priestess, as I mentioned, is a supporting characters here, so not all images can have knights and male characters. This is one of the Easter eggs. You see the pentacles, there's two horsemen sitting on a horse, two knights on a horse. The wheel is a very different take from the traditional card. And look at the Hierophant. Remember I mentioned to you the Solomon Temple? It's right there. And finally, our fifth deck, the Divine Masculine Healing Oracle. Deck published this year by an Australian publisher, Blue Angel. I did a full review of this deck on my channel. It's a 44 card oracle deck that puts the spotlight on the sacred masculine energy, something not that often explored with much care and depth, and this deck does it. This has got vibrant mythic and symbolic images, really rich colors, and elements like thunder, fire, or sacred animals. Each card has a name or keyword, and there's a really nice full color guidebook with a context affirmation and some backstories. And this is not just a masculine version of a goddess deck. It's a practical tool that you can use to explore healthy sacred masculinity that shows you courage, integrity, and presence. Each card represents an archetype. You may get the Horus for vision or Shiva for transformation. And the energy ranges from soft and grounded to fierce and primal, but this always has a direction and focus. The deck combines a few traditions, just Egyptian, Norse, Hindu, indigenous, and gives you a really good overarching perspective on masculine energy. There's no system to memorize, just pull a card and let it speak. Cards are highly intuitive because you recognize some of the characters. There's also very clever use of colors and scenery. And you can use it for journaling, meditation, emotional resets. I would say it's got a very grounded and empowering vibe. No fluff. If you're building confidence and doing shadow work, you can use this deck. The masculine energy, very high, but very wise. This deck has got a wide range of warriors, lovers, sages, kings, and it's all focused on healing, strength, and inner alignment. This oracle, the reason I included it, I think it would be a really good inclusion when paired with a structured tarot deck, especially the ones that have very strong masculine energy. And many tarot spreads will give you a story or a situation, and this deck is good for pulling one card to clarify a guiding card to show you that spiritual lesson in your spread, or a character or energy you need to embody. If you're using, let's say, Knights Templar, that will give you a structure and a bit of a spiritual context. And Divine Masculine can tell you how to show up for it. Or you can combine it with the Runic Tarot. You will use ancestral warrior energy from that deck and combine it with more emotional or mythic insight, and it will be a perfect complement deck when you need that masculine voice. So this is my list. Some of the new and recent tarot and oracle decks that carry that masculine energy. The real, usable, and layered. What about you? Do you have any decks that I should include in this collection? Leave me comments below. That's it for today. This is Jay with Runic Tarot. If you got something out of this, feel free to subscribe. And if you would like to support what I do, you will find everything you need in the description. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.